Well, appreciate you guys as always. Coming to an end of spring, proud of where our team is at. Thank you, Jesus, for another opportunity to coach these young men and build them as people, right? And that's what me and our staff have doubled down on, is just pouring into that process, right? Process over outcome. We've got these outcomes we all want, as very well known, right? We're doubling down on that process, which part of our process is spring ball. We just had 15 opportunities to improve, and I think we're in a good place right now. We are not ready for game one, nor is anybody in the country. So how we handle the next 3 months prior to fall camp is going to be a huge part of it. We've got some things we got to continue to fix and grow in with our current team, but excited to do so, man. Our leadership group is in a really good place. I'm proud of them, the buy-in. In everything they do, obviously not just in the games or in the practices, even in the meetings and everything we do, the workouts, the training room, they've been bought in, man. And so I'm proud of even seeing guys that were leaders on our team last year stepping into even way bigger roles this year. So I'm proud of our team, excited for them and where we're heading to. Awesome to get out in front of Bronco Nation. I think we talked about 7,000 fans, and they're seeing them come out in April to support their team. And I talked to our team about it. This Bronco Nation is the greatest fan base in the country, and I'll be the first to admit that. And so getting an opportunity to see a lot of them, autographs, for them to be around our players, that's different. And it's a very special situation. Can't wait for us to go play game one, but we got to handle the process to get there. So proud of what we did. I think it was some good back and forth today. Obviously in the first half, went rap to keep guys off the ground. There was some good back and forth there. Then we were able to go cut it loose a little bit in the second half, see some guys break tackles, see some guys make some tackles. So going to be a lot of good stuff on film. And I told our players this morning, I want them to go cut it loose. And at this point, practice 15, this is exactly who you are as a football player. Not how you played last season, not how you played practice 1. You are how you played this spring game, because that's after 15 opportunities. So excited for us to evaluate the film and figure out where we're at, and excited where we're growing to. So with that, guys, any questions for me?
The running game, obviously big storyline without losing Ashley, but he didn't have Sire out there, but a couple long runs. How do you feel generally about the running game of this team?
Yeah, BJ, that's a huge part of, first off, what we do offensively. And I've had questions asked to me, with Ashton not here, does that mean you guys are going to be drastically different? We won't be. Obviously, it's our offense and our defense and our special teams is going to be directly correlated to the players we have, BJ. But we are going to run the football. I believe in that as an offense. I believe in that as a team. The more you can run the football against an opposing defense, you wear them out. And that opens up the pass game. We want to be 50-50 balanced this year, run to pass. And I'm proud of our guys stepping up, and we're going to have the players to do it. In our offensive line, and our tight ends, our receivers to make the blocks, and then our running backs to make plays. You guys saw Malik Sherrod a little bit today. You guys have seen him sometimes in practice throughout spring. He's an explosive player. And he's even going to be a more explosive player on punt return and kickoff return. So very excited where he's at. Obviously not having Sire out there is a huge part of our offense, right? He is relentless to continue to get healthy, and he will be healthy going into the summertime. We don't see any issue with that. But Dylan Riley's had a really good spring. And what is sometimes overlooked, he's had a great spring offensively. He's going to be an impact player for us on our special teams unit too. And so a true freshman going into a sophomore year, he stepped up a lot. And so really cool to see those guys continue to elevate themselves. So we're gonna have what it takes to run the football, and that's a huge point of our entire team.
Both
Going into his sophomore year, Dylan Riley looks great. He had some big runs this last season even. Do you think he's ready to step into that leadership role, especially with the run game?
Absolutely is, and had a good meeting with him. I'm starting to meet with all our players one-on-one, and it is direct feedback in these one-on-one evaluation meetings, exactly where you are, from football, academically, in the weight room, nutrition, so on and so forth. And Dylan Riley, in the year he was not an early enrollee. He came last June, and seeing what he was able to do last season and see where his body is and who he is as a football player now, Dylan Riley's going to have a big-time sophomore campaign for us, offensively and on special teams. And he's just put that work in. Last year started on scout team, and went through some injuries, and him playing really well, found a way to have a role on offense and a big role on special teams, had that big-time kickoff return against Utah State. So we're building on some of those things. So I'm really excited where Dylan Riley is, and I'm going to highlight another guy in Cam Bates. Very similar. True freshman, came in, played, not a lot, played on special teams and offensively, and he's had a really, really good spring, an explosive football player. So excited where both those guys are headed.
How much does springtime kind of start to determine, I think you used to call it a seeding chart, not a depth chart.
Yeah.
But especially a quarterback, has Caleb and Annette done enough to maybe deserve that spot right behind Maddox?
Yeah, Jay, we'll see. Going into this game and had really good talks with Coach Hill, Coach Potter, our offensive staff. Going into spring, Caleb Bennett is extremely talented. He really is. Max Cutforth is very talented too, and he knew the playbook because as a third-string quarterback last year, he was able to be with the offense consistently. Caleb Bennett was with scout team, learning a new offense weekly, depending who we're playing. And so that has been the biggest part that Caleb's had to make up ground this offseason, and he has. So right now he knows it really well, and I thought he did some really good things today. So we're going to go evaluate, Jay. Going into summertime, we're going to either make a decision on who our number 2 and our number 3 is, and or we're going to go into summer saying, hey, we're still going to compete all the way up until fall camp, and we might even continue it going. But we will make a decision here. Might be this week, might be in the summertime. But I really am confident in both those young men. But just watching today, I think Caleb Bennett played pretty well today, and a phenomenal young man.
You mentioned the explosiveness of the league. We saw the explosiveness this Dylan could show. Obviously his run got called back, but we know what Sire can do there. Just when you have multiple guys that can just really be a touchdown threat any play, how dangerous does that make your offense?
Yeah, we need to be an explosive offense, right? And on the flip side, defensively, the goal is to eliminate explosive plays. Offensively, we have to create explosives, and when you have the weapons we have, especially in the running back room, we're going to find a way to make that happen. We're going to have packages this year where we put 2 running backs in the game. That's happening because we've got explosive players in our backfield. And seeing the iron sharpen iron, we go into summertime, you put Cy back in the mix. There's going to be competition through the roof for those reps, for those plays, and we've got the guys to do it. So very excited about that.
Jake Rip, we saw him as some linebacker, we saw him at edge, has a couple of sacks. Just where are you seeing where he may be as we go forward now?
Yeah, really proud of the spring Jake Rip has had. You talk about a guy that is all about the team. Started this offseason, we were focused on him playing on the edge, playing our stud outside linebacker position, which he played really well to start spring ball. And then we started putting him at some inside linebacker at our will spot. So he can do both. I know going into this summer, we're going to continue. This next week is a ton of self-scout for us too. We've been talking about our entire team and really where we're going to package-wise defensively. But right now, speaking to you guys, I think he's going to be primarily an inside linebacker. That he's been able to show that he can do it. And obviously we can get in a lot of different front structures to where he can still rush on an edge as a will inside linebacker. So really excited about Jake Rip Spring. He is going to be one of our top players on defense. And so now we got to figure out package-wise how we make that work. But I see him, I want to make sure I'm clear, I see him playing inside linebacker this year for us.
And just with another interior guy, David Lassou today, kind of got to see him. Just what did you think of his performance today, and I guess his spring, and where you see him going forward?
Yeah, really proud of him as a punt returner, man. You could see that today. How he caught those punts. He's an impressive big man, So, but no, David Lassou. You talk about a guy that came here and has just completely bought into how we do things. Frank Miley and Eric Shenander have done a really good job with him, but he's also bought into what we want him to do. Very talented young man. Big, strong, athletic. And if we can continue to stay at this mold through May, we're getting into decks here soon. I talk with those big dogs, say, hey, look up there. See there? See those decks? We're going to be running those here shortly. And I think they're looking at me like, you're not serious, right? Oh, yeah, I am. We'll be up there soon. But we go through the summer. If David stays on the same track he's on, guys, David Lassou is going to be a big-time defensive lineman for us as long as he continues to stay on the track.
Was there a position or two this spring, just from practice 1 to 15, that either exceeded your expectations or stood out, or that you want to highlight?
Yeah, good question, BJ. Every one of our position groups is in a different place, right? And now, and no different even when we ended the season, no different when we start spring. And so my goal, and I tell our staff this all the time, I want to continually turn the temperature up on every single position group. Even talking about the running backs, you lose Ash, but you feel really good about the guys you have there. Now my job is to make sure I make it still uncomfortable to where everybody feels like nothing's going to be given to them. So we tried to do that a lot of positions. Obviously had some guys that weren't able to be out there in spring, BJ, to compete to show that. The receiver room is one of those that we had some guys banged up that weren't out there to compete, but some guys stepped up and kind of proved their case to be a part of this and a part of what we do going forward. So to highlight one position group is going to be hard for me to do. I do think we took strides with our D tackles. Deion Washington, David Lassou, as new players, played a lot, and they're going to be able to play a lot. I think Michael Madri and Lopez Sanusi are going to be guys that have been here and are playing now at a higher level. Once again, have to continue to go through summer to do so. I'm proud of how our offensive line continues to gel. Guys that we've got, in Roger, Mason, and Cage Casey, big time returners come back. Hall Schmidt hasn't been able to go through any spring ball, but he's a returning starter as well with some other guys working in. So excited where that group is gelling. But I mean, I don't think I could pick one group that has maybe quote unquote exceeded expectations, or even a group that I'm like extremely concerned of how they've competed. We've obviously got some needs that we've got to go fix via recruiting, but we've got what it takes. That's what I've been telling players. I said, guys, the excuse for me is never going to be we need to go get somebody. It's always we have what it takes. We to develop the guys we have. And then if we bring in someone that's not here, they better fit our culture and do exactly what we want to do. And if that helps our team win, that's going to be awesome. But we, as coaches, as the head coach, we got to double down on building the guys in our building because we have enough, right? We have enough. And we're going to figure it out. Yes, we have some recruiting needs. Let's not get that twisted. But we have enough, and that's what we're going to double down, making sure where positions are right now. It's a ton of self-evaluation to see, are we playing blank player enough? Did he get enough reps in spring ball? Has he shown with the reps that he deserves more? There's going to be some guys, they're going to get less reps in summer because of how they played in spring, right? So that's the balance as we go through summertime, and we're going to bring in some new players.
You mentioned Mason. I didn't see him out there at all today. Was he?
Yeah, so Mace is, we had to fix some stuff on his bicep that he kind of went through, but he's going to be fine going into summertime. So he got that. I saw him yesterday. He's in a good spot. Was able to play most of spring, but we had to get a little bit of that fixed just to make sure he's healthy going into summertime.
Mitchell Bonkwell was a guy we didn't really talk a whole lot about this spring, but he made himself a target today a lot of times. You know, what have we seen from him this spring?
Yeah, I would have wished he kept his feet on the wide open touchdown, to be honest with you. But Mitch, a great kid. Has a lot of development left to make sure he can play going into his senior year. But man, a guy that is, low ego, high output for our team, does everything we want him to do. But even the tight end room, I mean, we're going to have high competition there. I mean, I think Matt Lauder and Matt Wagner will be two of the better tight ends on the West Coast. Like, I believe that. And then seeing some other guys step up. Austin Terry did some good stuff this spring. Even Troy Grizzle, as a guy that played edge. And I mean, you talk about a Swiss Army knife, whatever you need for me to do with the team. Luke Voorhees has been banged up, so hasn't played a lot this spring, but he will be healthy going into the summertime. So there'll be a lot of competition in that tight end room, and Mitch did some good stuff today.
At one point in time, you used to just kind of breathe easy for a minute after spring ball. How much do you kind of hold your breath, I guess, until next Friday?
Yeah, Jay, I mean, obviously college football is in a interesting place. And we've had some guys leave. You're always focused on the focus of your team, too, as you go through some of these things. But we're doubling down on the guys that we have here. And we've got a great group here. And just like anything, if there's guys that have lost the feeling that the value is here, it's probably time for them to move on. And we've got a group of guys that are extremely talented, but more importantly, 100% bought in to the value here to change their life. Because I know, without question, this is the best place to develop young men in the country. Period, end of story, because that is all we focus on as a staff. It's not, well, we do this, then we do this. No. We develop young men here. Yes, as football players, but also as young men. And so we've got a great group. Yes, it's going to be, just like anything, we're going through a lot of conversations, but I feel really good about the group we have. Could that change in a day? Could it not? I don't live in that space. I trust the Lord, and I trust how we love on these kids and making sure they know daily, this is the best place for me. This is the best place for me. And so we'll walk the path the next week. If something changes, we'll continue to push forward. But I know meeting with our leaders, they're bought into this place. And I know we're going to be really good. There may be some things that are pulling us or some focus, but I know we're going to be really good. Now, we're a long way from where we need to be. Let's not get that twisted. But we're going to be really good as long as we continue to focus on the stuff that matters.
You mentioned that, you have some recruiting needs, and obviously that can fluctuate between now and Friday, depending on what happens. But do you have an idea of a number that you would want to add or consider adding, I guess? I
don't have that number, Jay. I've talked about, we're going to actively recruit a receiver to be here as long as he fits culturally who we are. We're recruiting a defensive tackle, and then we're recruiting kind of a best available on defense, depending what package we want to use more. So we've got a couple different needs we're looking at. There's not a number for me right now, but we've got some things we're looking at. For us, in regards to recruiting high school players and or transfer portal players, very open with these young men that you have to want to be a part of this team. I don't want anybody here just because of transactional operations, right? Talent for us sets the floor. And I met with a group, we have some official visitors this weekend. Talent sets the floor. What is talent? How tall you are, how fast you are, how strong you are. but your character sets the ceiling for us. So what is character? How much you have a passion for this game, how hard you work, how much you love your teammates, right? So we want to recruit guys that come on. We bring them on campus, guys with high talent. But that is the floor of who they are. But more importantly, in this transactional college football world, we need to find guys with high ceilings. And the only way you find high ceilings is with a high character. And so it's not, well, we got to just get this number of guys. If it's not the right ones, we ain't bringing them here. Because I know I've been here 9 years. I know all these young men's families. I'm connected with them. I don't want them coming to my office and be like, why in the world did you bring this dude here? Right? So we're going to be very, very direct with recruits to make sure they are bought into what this is here. And I know we'll find the right guys that fit our culture and help us on this football field.
What's the plan at punter, and how surprised were you that JFR transferred?
Yeah, just like anything, BJ, I'm always open and honest with our players. And this is where you are. We need to grow from last season. Like, very direct with James in the offseason before spring ball. Like, hey, we did not, we have a lot of growth needed from our special teams, but also our punt team. And these are the things we need you to grow in. Had an open, honest conversation this week. I met with our returners, a lot of them this week, and told them, hey, this is the consistency we need to improve. And it was good. And then a day later, he told me that he wants to leave. So I wish him nothing but the best. I love JFR. I am so thankful for his time here. And wish him nothing but the best. We are going to continue to go build up the guys we have and find someone that wants to be a part of our team and is bought into what we're doing.
So with you saying you're happy with the guys that want to be here, you losing 3 starters to the portal, is there any concern of there being a problem down the road? If you guys have just been to the playoffs, favourite for the Mountain West, and guys are still leaving, is that a concern for you?
I think it's the reality of where college football is, right? I don't look at the outcomes, right? An outcome is somebody leaving. An outcome is these other things. To me, it's, are we doing everything we can as a staff to build into and develop these young men? If we're doing that, that doesn't mean you're going to keep everybody, but you're going to keep the right ones. And as long as we can continue to keep the right ones and we don't miss any step, and I'm not saying we haven't missed steps as a coach, trust me, we've got things that we got to continue to do better, starting with me. But in this space, we're going to double down on those things, because I've talked to a lot of head coaches that are very frustrated about maybe the current landscape of college football, frustrated about how their team is acting, frustrated. And for me, I'm never going to let myself go there. I do truly feel God's called me here, and I'm going to continue to pour into these young men every single day. And the ones that want to be here and know that that is going to change their life, they're going to be here. And we are going to coach them and develop them to be the best version of themselves. And I'm not worried about outside views of what's going on inside our building, what's going on there. I know we got a great group of young men that we're building into every day, and that is what God's called me here to do.
Last season, a lot of teams that you guys faced adjusted their whole defensive, scheme to Ashton Genty, opening, the pass lanes up for Maddox. Without Ashton, do you think Maddox will see more adversity in the passing game this year? Yeah,
we'll find out. I mean, once again, I think we got some really good running backs, though. Yeah. And Ashton Genty, I mean, you're going to take anything away from him, and I'm not saying that, I'm not comparing Ashton to who we have on our team right now. But we are going to run the football. And in regards to stopping the run defensively, if you are playing an offense that creates the shifts, the motions, the formations that our offense does, there's only so many defensive coverages you can use to stop the run with the sets we're giving a defense. We're making them show their hand. And so, yes, Ashton Genty made 11 guys, even the post safety, have to make sure we make a tackle. We got to go earn that, right? I promise you, game one, they're probably not going to honor us the way teams did last season because Ashton, for sure. But I'm going to turn the heat up on our guys and make sure you earn the right to make teams put 11 dudes in the box. And then when they do that, Maddox Madsen and our receiving core and tight ends, they're going to make people pay. We got to go earn the right to do that.
Anybody else?
The local QB product, Zeke Martinez, just a nice run today. How's he looked in spring ball? I know he's a guy who should be still in high school right now.
Yeah, Zeke's a great young man. He's obviously got a long way to go quarterback-wise. But you talk about just a great kid in the building. He's going to be on scout team this year, and he's going to do a really good job continuing to build and develop. He's a phenomenal young man, and he gets along great with our team, and especially a kid that, to your point, should still be in high school out there, cutting it loose in the spring game in front of Bronco Nation and how to scramble for a touchdown. Zeke's an awesome young man.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Coach.